Blessings and good evening. Tonight we once again come together to practice meditation 7 p.m. every day in Adelaide time, South Australia, here at Bodhipala Monastery. When we get into a routine of meditation like we've been doing the last month and a half, it becomes part of our day, part of our routine. It gets to the point where we don't question whether what we're doing at 7 p.m. we don't decide whether we're going to practice or not going to practice. It becomes our default setting, our routine to come together at 7 p.m. and practice meditation. There's less need to think too much about whether to or not to do the practice. It's just part of our routine, part of our day, to the point that if we miss a day or miss one, we might feel like something's missing from our day. So continuing to practice, we keep up a continuity of experience in our meditation, meaning we get to know ourselves better, get to know what causes and conditions lead to a more settled mind, and what causes and conditions lead to an agitated mind. Whether those causes and conditions are found throughout our day in how we behave, how we act, and how we interact with others, or it's what we've maybe been spending time on mentally, maybe the thoughts or content of the thought that we've been dwelling with throughout the day affects our mind in the meditation. So there's a certain degree of learning which happens over the course of time that you've committed to practice meditation. A certain degree of experimentation as well. Experimenting with the mindfulness of the breathing, experimenting with the mindfulness of the mantra Bhutto, maybe trying out metta meditation, and the various tools that we've been describing and discussing over the last month and a half. So when we get more familiar with our minds, it's easier to catch ourselves earlier in our, say, emotions or our reactions. It's easier to catch the early signs of, say, anger when we are feeling agitated and we start thinking negatively about some aspect of ourselves or others. We can identify the kind of early signposts of anger arising. We can try and apply our mindfulness and our metta at those points to maybe change our thinking. So with experience, we can practice a bit like a career that we do. When we have a job or a career that we have been trained in, we first have to understand the theory behind that job, how to undertake that job. What is the formulas? What are the science behind that particular job? And then when we put it into practice, we also have to live that job and understand how to undertake that job in a practical sense. So it moves from theory to more practical knowledge, maybe applying that theory to that knowledge we've gained to the job which we have undertaken. Then throughout the job we build our skills, our experience. Although on one level we've understood the theory, but on another level there's an education process which comes about through the practice of doing the actual job. That's maybe not necessarily taught in the curriculum. And this comes through experience. So we get familiar of what to do and what not to do, what is a skillful way of doing things and what's an unskillful way of doing things. What's an easier way of getting the job done and what's a way in which you have to avoid or takes a longer period to get the job done. And this is gained and acquired through exposure, through experience in the job of work. So it's similar in meditation, where you understand the theory on one level, but applying it to our daily experience, we need to give it time to grow, give it time to for us to learn about what works, what doesn't work, what areas we need to work on, and what areas we need to avoid or let go of. So we're getting more and more familiar with our minds or the job at work, the job at hand, until we become experts. We've seen our minds in different situations, circumstances, in different states, and through experience we've understood that, okay, I need to watch out for this particular mind state. This seems to arise when I'm feeling tired, or this seems to arise when I'm distracted. Then you are able to catch these things earlier, be more aware of them. So throughout the Rains Retreat, we've been getting more familiar with our minds, understanding them better, and aiming to quieten our minds bit by bit. So for the next period of time, we can continue practicing in this way, practicing the mindfulness, meditation, letting go of our distracted thinking, and aiming to come back to a sense of peace, presence of mind. We can do this until the sound of the bell.